Hello everyone, my name is Krista Reeves and I'm going to talk to you today briefly about making your virtual classroom engaging. And so I have been teaching online primarily for going on 3 years now, and I absolutely love it. I've been doing different healthcare programs like occupational therapy assistant, medical information technology, medical assisting, medical ethics, all kinds of different things. So my point is that it can be done and it's actually a lot of fun. But I'm hoping to save you some time on trying to find trial and error for different ways in how to get your students to be responsive in the classroom. Because we all know that there's nothing worse than sitting in front of a screen, staring at yourself and talking to yourself for over an hour. So first thing is, we probably all know at this point that bandwidth can be a problem. And what that means is you can't always have your camera on when you want to, or maybe you never want to. Maybe you're one of those people who likes to keep your camera off. It's a preference, but either way, what you can do is create yourself an avatar like I've done here. So this is my little Professor Reeves avatar, who I put at the beginning of all of my PowerPoints. And so this is kind of like my signature style. You know, every time students come into my virtual classroom, they know that they're going to see, if they're not seeing me on the screen, they're going to see me in the virtual form on the PowerPoint. So that's one thing that you can do. And the next thing is music. So I like to open my classroom a good 5, sometimes 10 minutes early. I'll go to YouTube, I'll find, some good songs or a good mashup video from the 80s and the 90s, and I'll play music. Find those American favorites and put them on for your students as they start coming into class, just like if it were a real classroom environment. Students start coming in, they start, getting situated, they'll talk to each other in the chat, and, that's their time, and it sets the tone for how class is going to go. It sets the tone for what your classroom climate is going to be like, and it's really just a lot of fun, especially if you choose some upbeat music. It definitely changes people's moods, and it gets them prepped for a class. It's a preparatory method, if you will. Icebreakers. So I understand that with healthcare programs, a lot of us are cohorted already. So what could we possibly not know about each other at this point, right? Probably, but that's not the point. The point is we want students to start talking. So you can pull up a simple icebreaker. Do you brush your teeth in warm water or cold water? And students will start typing in the chat and going back and forth. And, again, the question doesn't really matter so much. What matters is that students are starting to get comfortable using that chat feature or unmuting themselves and talking in the mic. Poll everywhere. Now, this is actually one of the advantages of the online classroom, because we've all been students before, and we've all been in that situation where the teacher asks a question, and you're like 99% sure that you know the answer. It's a hard question, but you know the answer. But you're not 100% sure. So you decide not to raise your hand, and you don't answer the question. And then it turns out that you were absolutely right. And so you missed that opportunity. Well, with Poll Everywhere, you can answer the question without that fear, because nobody knows who chose answer A or answer B or answer C. They just know that answers came through. Now, if it just so happens that the answer was A and your student or you were the only one who chose that answer, call them out, give them that opportunity to take the credit for themselves. So that's one of the things that I like about Poll Everywhere. The other nice thing is that you can wait for everyone in class to respond, so that you can really get a higher percentage of how many students actually do understand the material and how many students are still confused, so that you as the instructor can make the decision whether or not to continue on that topic or to, skim over a couple of things and move on because you know that the class as a collective pretty much has it down. Quick games. So I love to do this too, especially if you're covering a lengthy topic or a heavy topic. Maybe you're doing theory and students are starting to zone out a little bit and they've got, multiple tabs open and they're multitasking. We've all done it, right? So throw in a slide that just has a picture on it of a TV show cast. And you're going to ask students, okay, tell me what TV show this is from. And so you'll see students like frantically typing in the chat box. And it becomes a fun game, especially if they know you're going to do it a few times throughout the PowerPoint or throughout the lecture. So what this does is it keeps them on their toes. It makes them pay attention because they know that something is coming up that is unrelated to the material that they should be able to easily answer and participate in. And they want to be the first one to get the answer right. And so I'll see, chat after chat coming up, oh, Fresh Prince, Fresh Prince. And I'll see typos because students want to be that first person to answer it and to get it right because they know what the answer is. So that's a lot of fun. With this, I'll say know your audience. So if you want to pull up a picture of Dallas, you want to make sure that you have enough people in your classroom that could correctly guess that. You don't want to stump them too much. Memes and GIFs. Use them. They are so much fun. It's a super simple way to share information and have fun with it. So this is an example of a meme that I would use when I'm going over classroom do's and don'ts. So maybe I'll have my list of don'ts, and over on my don't side, I'll put this meme about how we don't do that here. And I'll see students kind of chuckle, and it's just a little something extra to make people pay attention and have fun with what you're doing. Yeah. Kahoot. So we probably all know what Kahoot is at this point. It's a lot of fun. I like it because students don't have to download anything. Nobody wants to download stuff to their phone. They don't have time for that. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want another app on their phone. So they can just go, they can Google it, and they can enter in their PIN, and they can participate right away. This is a way that you can do pop quizzes. This is a way that you can do quizzes after the fact. You can have students team up and do games together. So use Kahoot. It's another great resource for you. Invite a guest into your classroom. This is another wonderful advantage of the online classroom. So we can have people come in and talk to us from other countries. We can have people come in and talk to us from other states, from different time zones. Whatever. There are no barriers in the virtual classroom. So take this time to connect with people and invite them. We're all at home right now. We all have nothing but time on our hands. And this is a really awesome thing to do, to expose your students to different practice areas and different people that you wouldn't have been able to do in the classroom. The other thing that I love is storytelling. Storytelling is a pedagogy, and it's really gaining popularity. So what they're finding is that there is a very strong connection with storytelling, understanding and retaining information, and then being able to use that information to successfully pass a test or an exam, which is what we want our students to be able to do, especially in healthcare programs where they need to sit for a certification exam at the end of graduation. So storytelling is a big one. Research. So let's just keep going with storytelling. So speaking of storytelling, if we look over on the right here, teaching with narratives. So like I said, there is a ton of information out there. You can use Google Scholar or whatever fancy tools that you have to look up different case studies and things. But there's a lot that happens with the brain chemistry when we're able to sit and listen to a story. Furthermore, if you incorporate pictures, that just drives the information home even further. So if you haven't noticed, every one of my slides has had a picture so far and very little words, because there's a very strong connection with auditory, so I'm talking, with the visual, so the pictures, and then being able to retain information. Then over here on the left, we have an OJOT article. This is a quantitative analysis about online video cases and the connection with clinical reasoning skills in occupational therapy. And I really like this because it incorporates the Jan Davis ICE videos, which a lot of our programs are using already. So you can look up this article, you can read through it for yourself, and take the information and decide whether or not to start incorporating more of those video cases into the online classroom and using some more of those. And then finally, I have the keyword slide. So students are not always able to attend live. They have lives. So what you can do is you can create a keyword slide. This is a slide that you can place anywhere within the PowerPoint where you're prompting students to respond to you. Students have to respond either in an email or, if you have a nice learning management system, you can set it up as an assignment where they just have to type in something and get some participation points. So it can be anything. I try to make it a little bit personalized so that I'm maintaining that connection with students, even though we're not sitting face to face. So I want to hear about what's happening in their lives. I want to hear about all the good things. I want to hear about if they're struggling with something. So, for example, this one, I want them to brag to me about something. Tell me what's going on this week. And then I also give them some information about me too, because we're sharing here. You can use this as an opportunity to ask them about, what is the most confusing part about the information you got this week. And so you can use all of that information and, do some basic, coding to see if you found any themes amongst the responses. So if several students are saying that one particular thing was confusing, that's your chance to go back and review that information or provide them with some additional resources or another lecture video or whatever it is. So you can use that keyword to your advantage for that, as well as making sure that you've got that personal connection with students. So that is it. Those are my tips and tricks for making your online class engaging. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you learned a couple of new things. If I could drive home one thing, it's utilizing each other as a resource. Bring people into your classrooms. Make it as fun and exciting and as new for students as possible. But the whole point is just to get them to engage and to participate in the classroom. So, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.